I think we can all agree that the school experience is integral to children and their development everywhere. It's the place where you're meant to feel safe, cared for, and protected. It's where we learn not only what's on the curriculum, but about ourselves and who we want to become. However, what if I told you that for Black students, this wasn't always the case? For some of us, school was the place we feared the most, where our self-expression was hindered and we were forced to conform. Now, let me take you back to 2016. I was 14, and my mum had just spent 4 hours giving me cane roast for the coming school week. And as you can imagine, I was very excited to show my friends. But things took a turn for the worse once I got into school, where my form tutor sent me out of the class for having a hairstyle that she didn't deem professional enough for the school environment. But me doing as I was told, I packed my stuff and I left. But now being embarrassed and feeling like an outcast from my own year group. From there, I hated being different and I feared standing out. And I felt like my hair was more of a burden than a gift. However, like I said, my story isn't uncommon. 1 in 6 children with Afro hair have said that they've experienced hair discrimination, like Kaisha-Wade of Flanders, who in 2017 was thrown into isolation for having dreadlocks, despite them honoring his Rastafarian religion. His mother even being told by the head teacher that if she did not remove the locks, he would be expelled. Now imagine what that would do to a child's sense of self-worth. That being the way we are just isn't good enough for school. And sadly for people like Kaisha-Wade and I, despite our natural hair being honored in the home, we couldn't bring that same sense of pride beyond the school gates.
In order to paint a complete picture of the issue of hair discrimination today, when creating the campaign, we had to gain a full understanding of where the issue came from. Like many other things, hair discrimination and texturism has its origins in the slave and colonial era. Previous to this, hair was seen as a symbol of individuality and heritage, whereas with the advent of the slave trade, Eurocentric standards of hair were thrusted upon enslaved Africans, and it's these very negative perceptions of Afro hair that form the basis to texturism today, making it clear to us that this is not just a 21st century issue.
Although it's been almost 5 centuries since we first saw these attitudes towards Afro hair, the stigma still remains. 1 in 5 Black women feel pressure to straighten their hair to appear more professional at work. The gravity of the situation was evident when we all recall childhood memories of battling straighteners, relaxers, and the detested hot comb when getting ready for formal events such as weddings or birthdays, that we were told our natural hair just wasn't suitable for. Clearly, it's been demonstrated the extent to which discriminatory attitudes have been deeply ingrained in the minds of Black people everywhere, to the extent that, even if we're not explicitly told that our natural hair is not appropriate, we ourselves are embarrassed and ashamed due to the way society makes us feel. It's exactly these ideas and attitudes that we aim to destroy and dismantle and reframe when creating the Halo Collective.
We want to build a world where natural hair is not only accepted, but celebrated by professional environments. We want to see the end of discriminatory policies and instead push employers and schools to implement a message of inclusivity. And that's exactly what our code does. The code is a short charter in which all Halo adoptees are expected to place alongside whatever hair or uniform policies they have. And by adopting the code, institutions make a pledge to accept and welcome the cultural identities of their staff and or students, reflected in whatever hairstyle they choose. But this merely touches the surface of what we do.
Recently, there has been an amendment to the 2010 Equalities Act, which categorically outlaws hair discrimination as a form of racial bias. But despite this monumental step, the issue still persists, as people still fail to recognize the cultural significance of Afro hair and the styles associated with it, clearly demonstrating that there is more work that needs to be done to help institutions build a more inclusive environment for their students and celebrate their freedom of expression. And we believe this starts with education. We want to raise awareness of hair discrimination and celebrate and educate on Afro hair. We believe that by shifting attitudes and perceptions of Blackness, we can explain how we as Black people are frequently victims of identity-based discrimination.
So you've heard what we do, but how did we come to be?
As we all know, young people hold the possibility of change in their hands, and we were lucky enough to be afforded the platform and the resources to execute our vision of transformational change. This was all possible due to the Advocacy Academy, a school of social justice which enables young budding activists to create campaigns or social issues they're passionate, or a better word would be angry about. It was here that we all realized we had a passion for racial injustice, particularly hair discrimination, due to having our froze and natural hair problematized in school. We as students especially faced the same or very similar regulations that meant that we couldn't express ourselves through our hair, we weren't able to properly be ourselves in school. This led us to create Halo Schools. However, there's only 3 of us here, but there's only 5 of us, so we needed some guidance and support from the alumni community of the Advocacy Academy. This here allowed us to create the Halo Schools and Halo Workplace divisions, because we recognize that hair discrimination takes place and is prevalent at every single stage in our lives, whether you're 4 and you're just starting school, or you're 45 and you're at the height of your career.
Although, as you can hear, work is underway, there's still a way to go. We want to continue the conversation even further so that there are more adoptions from schools and workplaces. We want there to be more recognition of hair discrimination as a race-based issue. But the conversation must not stop around discrimination. We want to celebrate and educate about Afro hair. And we want people young and old to feel a sense of pride wearing, regardless, whatever hairstyle they choose to wear. And we want young people to feel invigorated so that they can just be themselves in any setting. Although, as you've heard, work is underway and progress has been made, there's still a way to go. But until then, we as a community must make a commitment to stand against hair discrimination and completely slay the stigma.
Thank you.
Thank you.